Hello guys, this is Brian Wentz of UB Fit, and today what we'll be going over is probably one of the most important core and posture muscles that we have. Now, a lot of people might think of the rectus abdominis or one of the back muscles, or maybe even the glutes. And while all those are really important, probably one of the most important ones is the transverse abdominis, or TVA for short. Why is this important? Well, because it's this band that wraps around our whole spine. It's not a superficial muscle, so we can't really see it. Like, we can see our abs, we can see our obliques, but it's essential with making sure that we're not rounded, we're not slouched. And the reason why it's important, especially nowadays, is we sit a lot. We sit when we're driving to work, we sit when we're at work, we sit at home on the couch all the time, and that leads to our posture just deteriorating over time, making the TVA a lot weaker than what it should be. So how do we activate it? And how we make sure to activate it properly is through a drawing in maneuver. Now, what's a drawing in maneuver? A drawing in maneuver is when you bring your navel or your belly button to your spine. And you're not sucking in, and can't talk that well. You're making sure that you're still able to breathe, you're drawing in a little bit. You can even see from being a little slouched, you bring in and already chest rises a little bit, posture's a little bit fixed. And that's the key to making sure to activate our TVA. Now, the TVA through the drawing maneuver is something you can practice anywhere, any day, and ideally every day. You could do this while you're sitting in the car, sitting at your desk, or even just standing in line, just 30 seconds at a time, once a day, every day, just do that drawing in maneuver, just practice, and you'll feel this kind of like this band activate, especially once you hold it for a while. They're like, oh wow, I haven't felt my muscles, my core working this way before. So definitely give it a shot. It'll help a lot with a lot of your lifts, like your deadlifts, squats, everyone cares about those. But just in general, your posture will be greatly improved. Your core exercises will be greatly improved as well. So I'm going to be showing you 4 exercises to do for your TVA. Now, none of these exercises are going to be isolating TVA. They're all going to be integrated. But to make sure, I want to reiterate, to do that drawing in maneuver, just drive that belly button, the navel into your spine just a little bit. While you're doing these exercises, to make sure that we are properly activating the TVA. So the first exercise is something called dead bugs. And I'm going to show you 3 variations. There's a lot of variations of these, but I'm going to show you my 3 for today. And all you're going to need is a yoga block. You could also use a half foam roller or something sturdy that you could be able to press against. So the first variation, we're just going to lie on our back, and we're going to raise our legs up, about 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees, arms straight up, and making sure that driving that navel in yet again to be able to activate the TVA. And then while we're going through this motion, I'm going to drive my right arm back and straighten out my left leg like such. And then I'm going to come back up and then switch. And then come back up and then switch. So that's the first variation. And now for the second one, is what we're going to do is we're going to put the yoga block with the half foam roller on one side, and then on that same side, we're going to drive our elbow into it. So I'm pressing in with my knee, driving in with my elbow, still trying to drive that navel in just a little bit. And while I'm doing that, pressing with these, I'm going to extend and come back up, and extend and come back up. So the third one is, instead of the same side pressing, we are going to do opposite sides. So left leg, right arm, come in, still try to drive that navel in, up, and then we're going to drive back, come in, drive back, come in, navel in, press in, and extend out, and come in. So that's the 3 variations of the dead bugs, making sure, yet again, driving the navel in. I can't put enough emphasis on that, especially in those last two ones. A lot of times that's when things start to get a little bit challenging, especially when you're driving in. You're almost like you want to just flex and brace, but we're still trying to drive in just a little bit, okay? So for the second exercise is what I call a tabletop Superman. What you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be in a quadruped position. So what that means is you're gonna be on your hands and knees. Knees are right beneath your hips, like such. So knees right beneath your hips, hands right under your shoulders, and then making sure you squeeze your shoulder blades together, and yet again, drive that navel in again. And just like the dead bugs, you're gonna do opposite arm, opposite leg, and extend. And then you're gonna come back, and then switch sides, and then come back. And making sure that when you're kicking back, you're not raising or dipping that hip, that you're able to stay nice and straight, and then you're coming back. Stay nice and straight, and then come back. And what you can do to make sure that your hips aren't tilting, if you don't have a mirror or if you don't have someone to check your form, you just can always put, again, a yoga block on your back, to make sure it's not tilting, or a foam roll that's cut in half, not half length, but half, right? And then put it on your back, make sure it's not teetering, to make sure your form's good. It could also help to make sure to squeeze your glutes, because yet again, this is an integrated exercise, so even though we're driving in the navel, trying to focus on the transverse abdominis, if our hip stabilizers aren't in check, then that's where we also might see some tilts. So the third exercise is going to be a bear crawl. Now, if you've done sports before, or if you know anyone who's done sports, you may know what a bear crawl is. However, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Instead of having our hips up and just trying to move through the motion, we're going to be very controlled, just like with that tabletop Superman and the dead bugs. We're going to keep the navels in, and just like the tabletop Superman, we're going to be in a quadruped position starting off. So set up just like you would with Superman, except instead of having your feet relaxed, you're going to be on your toes. You just right when you're in this position, switch shoulder blades, navel in, yet again, doing that drawing in maneuver, and then we're going to bring our knees off the ground, it's about an inch, and then what we're going to do is then take a little step, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg, and continue going, continue going. Now again, I'm not hiking up, right? I'm not going super fast. I'm not taking long strides. What happens is then we see that hip tilt yet again, right? So you want to make sure smaller steps, so you can kind of stay right under it. And then what you can do is I'm going to show you two more variations of this, and what that is just changing how you move. So instead of just going forward, take it up a notch, and then go backwards, 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 backwards. And what you can also do, I'll face this way so you guys can see, is going laterally, right and left. So, again, set up, navel in, shoulder blades squeezed, come up, and then I'm going to then here, 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 and then other way. Always making sure opposite arm, opposite leg. So that's my variation of bear crawl that, again, engaging the TVA through the drawing in maneuver can help a lot. It's not just some kind of like cardio exercise. You can definitely do that if you're trying to do some kind of endurance, but if you're trying to focus on stabilization, activating the core, activating the TVA, control that motion, making sure that hip doesn't tilt. For the fourth and final exercise, we're going to be doing an overhead dumbbell carry. And we're going to go over a couple variations of this that are a little more challenging, so we have progression, but it's also good to incorporate all of them. Now, I prefer dumbbells just because of the added instability. We could use kettlebells as well. I just don't like how it feels, in my opinion. You could also do medicine ball or just one dumbbell, just hold it overhead as well. Yet again, I prefer dumbbells just because of the added instability in the shoulder and scapula. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna bring them up, press them overhead, and we might see yet again that arching, right? So that's where that drawing in maneuver helps kind of flatten out the back. And what we'll be doing is we're just gonna be walking. Just walking forward, taking nice controlled steps. It's not about speeding through it, it's about, yet again, that controlled factor, being able to go down and then coming back. And this is something you can do for reps. Especially if you have a tendency to take big strides, if you see a distance, if you make it a distance route, then you're more inclined to, hey, I'm gonna take big steps and get this through. Versus if you do just reps, you just focus on, hey, every rep is controlled, so on and so forth. Another variation of this could be laterally. So you're gonna go, bring them up, do it again, navel in, and then you're just gonna take nice, small steps. Make this more challenging. Instead of just going side to side, you could also go cross over, and then making sure, yet again, nice, slow, controlled, navel in, and of course go to the other side as well. Now, I shouldn't have to say this, but I want to say this, don't go backwards with these. The only reason why I said go backwards with the bear crawls was you don't really have the weights. Always be safe, making sure you're not near a lot of people, near someone lifting some weights. But especially with this one, don't go backwards because now you're holding a weight as well. So just go forwards, go side to side, and try to do that crossover, crossing the feet like a grapevine or karaoke. All right, so that was my 4 exercises for your core to help train your transverse abdominis or your TVA. Now they might look easy off at first glance, but I can guarantee you that if you haven't done anything like this before, and if you try to do it with good form, they can be extremely challenging, especially with the progressions given to you with the dead bugs, with the bear crawls, and with the dumbbell overhead carry. Make sure if you have any questions, leave that in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up. Make sure to hit subscribe. We're going to continue on with this kind of core training for the next couple of videos, so be sure to stay in tuned. This has been Brian Wentz of UB Fit, signing off.